Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nur Shakira Amani binti Jaswari. My metric number is S75814. So today I will demonstrate my database development and query solutions for individual assignment ACT 3513, specifically focusing on problem 4.1. So before we answering the questions, I independently developed this database in Microsoft Access by setting up three main tables based on the questions given. So first, we will do a borrower table. So for the borrower table, we change the name to borrower table. For the first column, we have a borrower ID. It is in number, so we choose it to number. So the other three is for the short text, and the fourth is for currency, and the other last two is a number. So as we see, we change the number into borrower ID. This one, last name in short text. This one is first name. So this one is for amount. It is in dollars, so we have to change the currency first. So for the currency change, we select the currency and we change here to convert into dollars. So it's already in dollar. So this is lender ID. Also in number. And the last one is a freezer ID. So in number. So we just fill all the table from the questions given. So we already done the borrower table. So next we will do a lender table. So we create a new table, change the name as lender as before. So first we have lender ID. It is in number, short text, and a short text. So the first one is lender ID. Second is lender name. Third is lender address. So we fill the table with the info from the questions. So we finish the lender table. The last one. So the last one is appraiser table. So we already do all the three table. So after do a three table, let's look for the questions one by one. So we create, let's solve a problem 4.10. So for the first question is questions A. Before that, we have to create a query design. So for the first questions A. So for the question A, we need to find a borrowers who use a advent appraiser. So to do that, I link a borrower table with a appraiser table. So for the borrower table, we create a ID and the last name, and the appraiser name, we take appraiser name. So in a criteria row for appraiser name, I type a advent appraiser. So here we type advent appraisers. So we click around. So this is the answer. So let's take a look at SQL view. This is the SQL view. And the design view, this one is the design view. So let's move to the question B. Create question B. So for the question B, we want to list a property appraiser with a letter D in their name. So I select a appraiser table, ID, and also the name. So under the appraiser name, in a criteria, I put a D, only D. And for the sort, I set a ascending. So we run. So this is the answer. For the SQL, for the SQL view, this is the SQL view. And the design, this is the design. So next, question C. Create question C. So for the question C, the objective is to list the lenders who involved in transaction that use a appraiser ID 8. So inquiry require data, use both lender table and borrower table. For the lender table, we put a name. For the borrower table, ID, amount for the 8, and also appraiser table. So in a criteria row on appraisal ID, I set a value of 8. So we run. This is the answer. So for SQL, this is the answer for SQL. And the design, this is what it look. Design. So for the next questions D. Questions D, we create the table. Save as questions D. So for a questions D, we need to identify a lender that lend more than $100,000 in a criteria row for a required more amount. So for this, we use a borrower table, lender table, and also a appraiser table. So for the borrower, the lender table, we use a name. Appraiser table, we use a name, and the borrower table, we use a record amount. So I use a operator greater than $100,000 at criteria. Around, and this is the answer. So let's SQL view. This is the SQL view, and the design view. This is the design view. So next, let's move to questions E. Questions E. Okay. For the question E, we are calculating the average amount borrowed for each lender. So I use a lender table and a borrow table. So a lender table is the ID and a name. So borrow table is average amount, big amount. So we put on total, yes. Enable total access to apply a AVG functions. And I also set a sorting of AVG more amount to a descending. Sort as a descending. So that's all. Run, and this is the answer. So for the SQL view, this is the SQL view. And for a design view, this is the design view. So yeah, let's take a look with the last questions. Questions F. Question F. So for the question F, finally, we want to determine how many appraisal each appraiser performed. So I use the group. First, a table, a borrower table, and also a price table. So a price name and ID. So we total it function. Use a count function. So that's all. Run. So this is the answer for last question, question F. We take a look at the SQL view. The SQL view and design view is how it look for a design view. To conclude my presentation on how to develop and execute these SQL and design view queries in Microsoft Access, all the queries have successfully retrieved the accurate data required for problem 4.10 from question A to question F. So thank you for your time.